Are you serious? Are you serious? Jesus saves, and I'm telling you, the world needs him. The world really needs the Lord. Welcome to the Coming Apocalypse. I'm Pastor Paul Begley. We have three major breaking news stories taking place out of the Middle East. I've actually been in contact this morning with three different internal friends, three different ones on three different stories this morning. Two of them live in Jerusalem. One lives outside of the city of Jerusalem in another town. And so this is incredible information coming. Let me tell you all about it. And this is the war in the Middle East. The Holy Land is now in flames. And let me tell you why. First of all, let's put a shout out right now for www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com. Chances are you've been here before. The chaos in the market, the prices of oil, the inconsistent stocks, and just when you thought it was safe, and the interest rates started rising, and then new threats started coming out of nowhere. Tensions are boiling over in Asia and Europe. Well, I'll tell you about that today. And the Middle East, obviously. And the adaptation, though, is the key to safeguarding your wealth. And you may not have ever considered gold before, but folks, let me tell you, it's a biblical currency. And this is not speculation, but it's insurance. And right now, you need some safeguards, some insurance. And Noble Gold Investments over at www.pastorpaulgold.com have been protecting investors and their 401ks and their retirement funds from disaster for years with precious metals. So if you're worried, it might be time to take a fresh look at gold and silver. Gold is a proven safe haven. It can shield your finances, help solidify your portfolio, and balance out your savings against uncertainty. And listen, if this will help you, Noble Gold Investment is offering this over at www.pastorpaulgold.com. They are offering this 3 ounces of silver American Virtue coin for free. They'll give this one to you for free. 3 ounces of pure silver for every new IRA or 401k rollover. Claim your coin today. Go to www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com. Or pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And please tell them Pastor Paul Begley sent you there, all right? So, yeah, we are in a very volatile situation right now. Behind me is the pictures of 5, and I'll try to get out of the way here, but there's 5 of them. There he is. There's 5 young men that have died here in Israel. These are 5 Israeli soldiers that have just died, and it's not even being reported how they died. But we just got the inside info from one of our folks that live there in Israel and is privy to this information for sure. I'm going to tell you how they died, but also I need to tell you what else is going on. Big developments taking place right now in the Holy Land. First of all, let me just say this. The Israeli embassy in New Delhi, India, was attacked this morning. Rockets were fired. An explosion is what happened there. Some kind of bomb explosion went off just next to the Israeli embassy there in New Delhi, India. And after the explosion was over, and of course the police and everybody was, all the soldiers and everybody there, a letter was found. It was addressed to the ambassador near Gileon. This letter has been found at the site of the explosion, very close, right next door to the Israeli embassy there in New Delhi, India, according to Indian reports and local police sources and their sources within the Israeli government. So we know that, we know yesterday, I reported this yesterday, that an Indian, just 200 miles off the coast of India, a Saudi Arabian ship was hit by a drone by Iran. Iran used one of their drones to hit a Saudi Arabian ship, an oil tanker, 200 nautical miles, excuse me, off the coast of India. Excuse me so much. I'm so sorry. 200 nautical miles off the coast of India. So that happened, and I reported that yesterday. Now there's been an explosion at the embassy, the Israeli embassy in India. So this war seemingly is expanding. Well, it definitely is, because this morning we had another situation. It's just happened 35 minutes ago. A rocket was fired out of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and has hit a Greek Orthodox church. And that's what my ring. A lot of people ask me what my ring, the symbol on my ring. No, it's not a Masonic ring. Okay, it's not a Masonic ring. That's called the Jerusalem flag. If you go to Jerusalem, that exact symbol is on the flag in Jerusalem. Okay, it's called the Jerusalem flag. It's also on the Greek Orthodox Church flags, and also what the priests wear on their holy garments. It's the exact same symbol on the Greek Orthodox Church, and it is an ancient symbol from the days of the Knights Templar. Okay, there's nothing Masonic in this, but I wanted to share that with you because there's so many people that asked that question. Also, a lot of people are saying, why am I not wearing my wedding ring? You wouldn't believe the number of emails we're getting and letters. No, Heidi and I have been married 41 years. We're still married. My wedding ring broke in half, and it's now being repaired in the jewelry, and it will be coming back to me here in about a week. So let's put that to rest. Okay, now anyway, the 9 people, listen, there was a rocket fired out of Hezbollah. It crashed into a Greek Orthodox church in northern Israel by Hezbollah. It injured. The IDF said that an 80-year-old man was injured inside the church. I'd almost guarantee he's the priest. I'd almost guarantee there's one person probably living in that church, and it was probably the priest. And that's probably the man wounded. He's 80 years old. Well, the IDF went there to help. And then another rocket hit, and 9 Israeli soldiers were wounded, one of them seriously wounded, as they were trying to help evacuate the wounded man inside the Greek Orthodox Church. Okay, so that happened. So now the man inside the church has been injured, and 9 Israeli troops have been injured. One of those very seriously, and this is all taking place. Israel then responded by blowing up the location from whence the rockets came from there in Lebanon. So again, the war is expanding. Now, earlier today, I had confirmation from another source in Jerusalem, another friend of mine in Jerusalem. I don't give any of these names of these sources, as you can understand, protecting them. But the response I got earlier this morning was that he had spoken to a soldier, and that soldier had informed him that the war looks like is going to expand, especially up on the northern front. And I got that conversation before I got out of bed this morning, and before I could get here in front of the cameras and pull everything together, this Greek Orthodox church has just been hit. That's in northern Israel, and of course that came from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and now Israel has responded back. But we have injuries of Israeli soldiers. Again, we see what's going on. There's a lot of deception, and the war is broadening. Matter of fact, one of the Israeli top cabinet members is saying that now Israel is at a war on 7 fronts. 7 fronts. So this is getting very, very dangerous as the Holy Land. It's not just, this is not, I repeat, this war is not just Israel and Hamas in Gaza. This has broadened now to regional. We have the Iranians, we have the Syrians involved. Israel yesterday killed an Iranian brigadier general in Damascus, Syria. Yemen has been today, Yemen, hitting, again, firing missiles at oil tankers and ships in the Red Sea and hitting some of those. That's Yemen. That is actually the Houthi rebels who are the proxies of Iran that are causing trouble in the Red Sea and in the Mediterranean Sea, which is fulfillment of Scripture, by the way, in the book of Jeremiah. And I'll read that in a moment. Now, it says that the sea, there's no quiet on the sea. The sea cannot be quiet. In other words, there's war. There's no peace. Okay, it's expanding. So now this morning, so then yesterday, Iran used drones to hit a Saudi Arabian oil tanker 200 miles off the coast of India. And then today we just had an explosion at the right next door. The explosive went off. It didn't hit the Israeli embassy. It hit right next door when it went off, so probably premature explosion. But they're in New Delhi, India, at the Israeli embassy with a letter that is basically probably saying, here we come. You know, I'm sure it's a threatening letter from Iran. Now, meanwhile, the church, the Greek Orthodox Church, has just been hit with a missile, and 9 Israeli soldiers running into the church to go help an 80-year-old man who was injured, who's probably the Greek Orthodox priest, I'm just assuming. And then they were hit again, and this time all 9 of those Israeli soldiers were injured, one in serious, critical condition. That's going on. And Israel had to respond and blow up that location there in southern Lebanon. Meanwhile, these 5 young men behind me were ambushed and killed. And I got this information from another one of my good friends in Israel, a very good friend, who sent the information to us and said these 5 soldiers were killed on an ambush. And here's how the ambush went down. There was a woman, and let me read it. I'll just read it. Here's what I received. It said, a woman, give me 1 second. Yeah. An Arab woman and her children came in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, came walking out waving white flags, walking toward Israeli soldiers. So you have a woman and little children walking out with white flags. So the Israeli soldiers rushed in toward them to help the women and children. But as they rushed in to help them, then snipers and gunfire opened up on them. It was an ambush. The women and the children were used as the bait. And as the Israeli soldiers, these soldiers behind me, went in to help them, all 5 of them were killed in the ambush. And this happened on the 23rd of December, just 3 days ago. Okay, this is not, you're not even getting any of, now you heard all about when the 3 hostages came out. You heard all about when the 3 hostages came out waving white flags, and then a situation developed, and Israel ended up killing all 3 innocent hostages by mistake. So now that precedent was set, then they send out 3 more people, a woman and 2 or 3 children. So you're not going to just open fire on them, obviously, especially after the 3 hostages that were shot. Now you're walking around on pins and needles if you're an Israeli soldier. And so you're fighting this war with like your hand tied behind your back, and you walk out there, you run out there to try to help these people, because obviously innocent civilians is not your enemy. This is not who your enemy is. But they're being used as bait. They're being used as human shields. They're being used as part of the warfare against the Israeli soldiers by Hamas. And when these 5 young men went out to help that woman and those children, they were all gunned down in this ambush, and they're all dead. This is what's taking place right now. So let's see if we got this straight. Israel was attacked on October 7th by hundreds of Hamas terrorists, which we're finding out last night. And I'm just going to throw this out there, but I won't say which news agency, but a couple news agencies had people embedded with those terrorists when they come running out to help cover the story. But they were embedded with the terrorists when they run across, so they knew it was going to happen, yet they didn't alert the authorities and let them know. They just went to cover it. So they were in on the deal. I won't say what news agencies, but I have that information. Now, meanwhile, so you have this attack of October 7th, and 1,400 people were innocently murdered and slaughtered. You have the Israeli response, military operation in Gaza, trying to destroy Hamas and eliminate them as a regime. Meanwhile, the Houthis start firing rockets at ships in the Red Sea and in the Mediterranean Sea, and now the Iranians have joined in by shooting at ships near the coast of India. And now you have an explosion right next door to the Israeli embassy in India. Meanwhile, the United Nations is still passing resolutions against Israel, and protesting is going on around the globe against Israel, including right here in the United States of America. Meanwhile, Lebanon, Hezbollah, has fired over 1,000 rockets into Israel. That's not even being reported. And meanwhile, Syria has been involved in firing rockets and mortar shells, and that's where these, so that's where that's coming across the Golan Heights. You see now targets like a Greek Orthodox church is targeted by this Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and you see the war starting to expand outside of even the nation of Israel. Israel is the Iranians, the Syrians, Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, the Houthis out of Yemen, Hamas and Islamic Jihad both out of Gaza. You're also getting threats from other groups who are wanting to participate in fighting against Israel. You're watching the Russians roll in now and reestablish their alliance with the Iranians. You see yesterday the Russians definitely setting up, look like about ready to sign a military collaboration with the Chinese in a big way, which I'm sure that it's going to make Taiwan feel very nervous. So you have that taking place. So all of these things, the war is expanding. The war is expanding. It's going beyond. So let's look at that from a prophecy standpoint, because if you study Bible prophecy, you'll say, did the Bible tell us this was going to happen? The answer is absolutely yes. Now, I've been saying since October 7th, I've declared that the Psalms 83 war is in play right now. And that's because of all these nations that are against Israel. Actually, the entire world is coming against Israel. It's exactly what the Bible said would happen in Psalms chapter 83. But we're just about ready to roll into Ezekiel 38. We are so close to that it's as if it has beginning. Certainly, I think Zechariah 12, that Jerusalem is becoming this cup of trembling, this burdensome stone for all people. Okay? That seems to be in play. That's Zechariah chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. But also, we've been looking at Zephaniah chapter 2. Where Gaza will be forsaken. It looks as if that's taking place. And we also see that there's going to be these other events taking place. I want to read it right now if I can find it. That is the parting of the land. We're watching right now out of the book of Joel, chapter 3, where it says, verse 1, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, and I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." Bring the whole world down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, right there between the Mount of Olives and the eastern gate, where the Messiah will come and go through the eastern gate as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Right that spot is where the Lord says in Joel 3 that he will beg the world not to do this, not to come against his heritage, Israel, not to come against his people, or for my heritage, Israel, whom they've scattered already among the nations. We've already had that done. And just now, the law of return, they've just now come back. They've only been a nation 75 years, and now they're being the pressure on this, what's called parting the land, or a two-state solution. You're hearing it now everywhere. The United Nations is saying it every other day. The European Union wants it done. Emmanuel Macron just went and met with different leaders from the Islamic world, pushing for this two-state solution. He wants to broker it. He wants to be the author of it. The Egyptians just made an offer that if Hamas would surrender and give up the war, that then a new established territory can be put together. Well, what they're saying is a two-state solution. Joe Biden has been preaching two-state solution before he ever even got in the White House. He's been preaching that for 30 years. We are seeing now these prophetic things taking place. But let me read on, because besides the Joel prophecy, there's also prophecy in the book of Jeremiah. I believe it's the 49th chapter. Also in the book of Isaiah, we have to take a look at chapter 17. Let's go there first. In Isaiah 17, now you know Damascus is, and we just yesterday, the Israelis killed the, and by the way, the United States has been attacked 104 times in the Middle East. We've only responded 3 times, but this morning we responded again. This morning, for the 4th time, we finally responded, and we attacked Iranian forces in Iraq. Okay? Iranian forces in Iraq, the United States attacked today. That happened this morning. So again, the war's expanding into Syria, into Lebanon, into Iraq, into Yemen. Egypt now is dealing with all of the humanitarian aid, and the people are pushing up against the fence, and they all want to flood into Egypt to get out of Gaza. The Mediterranean Sea has war on it. The Red Sea, there's war on it. This is not just Ezekiel. This is not just Psalms 83 no more. We've done some. This is Psalms 83 war expanding, maybe going to expand all the way to Ezekiel 38. We're watching this closely. But in Isaiah, if you go with me to Isaiah 17, listen to this. The burden of Damascus. This is Isaiah 17:1. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be called a ruinous heap. It goes on to say that this will, the fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, verse 3, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria, and they shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. So there's going to be an economic crisis in Israel due to this war. The economy in Israel is going to suffer greatly because of the war. I'm going to tell you several reasons. Number one, nobody's going there. No tourists are going there. That is their number one way of revenue. Number two, the world hates them. And the BDS and all of this boycotting against Israeli products is taking place globally now. Number three, America is dragging its feet with aid, financial, military support, as it's starting to drag their feet because the Congress are fighting with each other. And even though the House of Representatives just passed a package to give $14 billion to Israel, we're still waiting for Chuck Schumer to pick up this bill that was passed and bring it before a vote in the Senate, which obviously would pass because you're not going to not support Israel, right? But if you never pick up the bill and never put it to a vote, then the $14 billion don't go there. The $14 billion sets on the table, and this is part of Jacob. The glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. It shall be as when the harvestman gathered the corn and reapeth the ears with his arms. It shall be as he that gathereth ears in the valley of Rephaim. Okay? Yet gleaning grapes shall be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries at the top of the uttermost bough, 4 or 5 maybe in the outmost fruit branches. In other words, it's going to be a small yield. They're not going to be able to even harvest the olives and the grapes, and that's going to be because of the war. So this is going on. Now, let's go to Jeremiah 39 real quick. I'm going to finish with this. Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 49, and this is about Damascus. It says, verse 23, concerning Damascus, Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil tidings. They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. Concerning Damascus, there's war, and there's sorrow out on the sea. That's the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. We're seeing it already. It cannot be quiet. Damascus is waxed feeble. It turns herself to flee. Fear has seized on her. Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not left the city of my joy? Therefore her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus. Now, God doesn't stop with Damascus. In the same chapter, Jeremiah 49, he gives the proclamation, the prophecy to Iran. He says this in verse 35. Iran is called Elam in Iran in Jeremiah 49, verse 35. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, or Iran, the chief of their might, and upon Elam, or Iran, will I bring the 4 winds from the 4 quarters of heaven, and I will scatter them toward all the winds, and there shall be no nation whether the outcast of Iran shall not come. For I will cause Iran to be dismayed before their enemies, and before them that seek their life, and I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord, and I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them, and I will set my throne in Elam, and I will destroy them, the king, the prince, saith the Lord. And this shall come to pass in the latter days, in times, that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. I'll be right back. Saturday was silent, and surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of a dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that He wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move. I feel Him moving it now. I feel Him doing it now. I feel Him doing it now. Do it now. Do it now. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Yeah, this is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Yeah, this is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Oh, that's right. Ezekiel 37, the dry bones shall live. Israel will be established as a nation. This was a 3,000-year-old prophecy that came to pass. Now we're watching 3,000-year-old prophecies coming to pass again in the latter days, just like it was said. It's the Psalms 83 war and the expansion of that war now, dragging us ever so close to Ezekiel 38 of the Battle of Gog and Magog. We're not there, but we are at the brink of it. And the question is going to be, will this situation, will it go into Ezekiel 38, or will it stop short of that and maybe go into the parting of the land and some type of an arrangement forced upon Israel? There are so many possibilities, so we watch them. That's why you can't just make, flippant prophetic, deal. You just can't say, well, that's it. Where's that? No. It could be 25 years between Psalms 83 and Ezekiel 38, or it could be 25 days. Or how about this, 25 minutes? So I don't think it's 25 years, but then again, I'm not God. And God's in no hurry. But I can tell you, by the way things are developing, I doubt that very seriously that it's 25 years. So we are seeing prophecy being fulfilled before our very eyes, step by step, inch by inch, line by line, precept upon precept. And my number one question to every person watching the video right now, whether you're live or you're not, is, have you given your life to Jesus Christ? He is the Messiah. Yeshua is the Son of God. He is the Messiah. Please give your life to him. Repent of your sins. Be born again. We're running out of time. I'll be back with more. There's some more information that has been developing just in the last 5 minutes. I'll come back again. Stay close to the station. I'll be back. Are you serious? Jesus saves.